Okay, so before I even get into it, I just want to make it very clear. If anything in this video sounds like I'm telling you what to do, I am not. I am just simply thinking out loud. I am not telling you what to do. My results are not typical. So traders, a lot of people lose money in the market. Not everybody's successful. It's really, really difficult to make money in the market. If you're going to try to make money in the market, definitely want to do it in the simulator for a very long time, like 6 months to a year, before you can even think about putting real money at risk in the market. This is not an easy game to play, and most traders will not be successful. So I just want to make it very clear, my results are not typical. Please do not place a trade or make a decision based on what you hear me say in this video. And anything that sounds like I'm telling you what to do, I am not. I'm simply here to tell you what I'm doing, and hopefully you can learn something from that you can then apply, study, and mold into what works for you. But only place a trade based on your own research and what you feel is right for you. All right, so let's get into the video. All right, everybody, so after today, I figured I should make a video with the market. Or just to give you an update on a few things. So right here, you're looking at our swing trade that we're in based on the swing alert that I'd sent out a while back now. I'm not showing the ticker on this one because it wouldn't be fair to the people paying for my swing alert service. But I wanted to give an update for those watching this, and for those who don't know what this ticker is and are not on my alert service, you could probably learn something here as well. So here we are. We had the I showed you in the last video where this ticker has been like 100% over the last 2 years. So it hasn't had any losers. So right now, let me just show you real quick again. Let's zoom out. Okay, so here's 2 years. Okay, sorry, we did have a loser on this one. The PBEF, whatever, was the 100%er. So we had one loser in the last 2 years on this ticker. So it's been absolutely fantastic. We've had a good win streak here. And right now we are in this trade as alerted. So over here we had our alert in this. So the original entry that I had was right here. This is where I alerted it. And when I alerted this, I was debating on waiting a little longer for it to fully fill the gap. But we were so close to filling this gap, and it kept on wanting to challenge this resistance area. And I was like, you know what, I'll just put it out there now because I'd rather be in a little bit early than to try to chase this thing being late. So that's why I alerted it when I did. But today you can clearly see we did fill that gap today. So now what happens tomorrow? It's a good question. So a couple things happened today. The markets had a massive sell-off today. Absolute massive sell-off today, which I think affected this big time and also helped us close this gap. A lot of times when the market had a big sell-off like this, we do see a bounce. So how will that translate to this ticker? I'm not really sure. I could tell you the algo thinks we're going to go down to sideways for a little while. So right now, you can see last time we had a little bit of a sell-off and it came into the red zone with the algo, and it did initiate a little bit of a down, but more sideways, right, from that red initiation. We could be seeing the same exact thing happen here. So we may see down to sideways for a while. We have dividends coming out on this day here. 6.2, and I went back in time, and it's kind of a mix. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. It's not really enough to give us a statistical probability one way or the other. But we do have dividends. I would like to think that would help a little bit. Going back a little bit more here, when we clicked into the red zone here, we went down a little bit more, but not really below the previous red candle. So I would say more of a sideways, and we rallied to new highs. So back here, that didn't happen. We went down to sideways, and then we had this big sell-off. But as I've been showing you with this, algo-based trading, right now this trade looks really good. And we closed our gap from a technical side, and it looks like it's ready to go higher. So I'm still really confident in this trade. But when we go back in time, we can see that right through here is a support level, was resistance. Clearly, right? See that purple line I drew through there? Look at all that resistance, crazy resistance. Then we had our breakout above that resistance, came back to retest it, breakout above. Then we had the gap below to get below it, and right away it ran right back up and smashed through. We had a gap that got filled here, or left here, right? And then you can see where that gap got filled. Oops, that is not what we want to do. No, save, delete. Okay, cool. I almost changed my order. All right, so oops. Trying to zoom in here. All right, so right here we had our gap, and then you can see where that gap got filled, and we rallied to new highs. So maybe that will be the same thing we see here. Our gap just got filled. Maybe we're rallying to new highs. But that purple line I showed you was a big deal. Had the gap below it, came back above, then, and again, that's just an area. So this became clearly support again, clearly support. So we're just above that support now. So now that we filled the gap, does it rally higher, or does it come back down to that support area, hang out for a while, and then go higher? I don't know. What I do know is the algo is looking down to sideways right now, but at the same time, it still looks like a positive trade for the long side because our algo indicated a trade right here, and that trade is not complete. Our stop was here. So what I ended up doing today, traders, which I did right at the very last second, so I wasn't able to alert it out, is I added to my position. I added my position right at the close. I was like, you know what? We filled the gap. We're right at the close. I'm going to add to my position. So I was thinking about waiting a little longer. So if we did have our down to sideways move, I can probably get an add in at a better price and close to risk, right? My stop is still, sorry, close to risk down here. My stop is still here. So it's really close to risk. But I added there anyway. So we'll see if it was a good move or should I have waited a couple more days. Probably should have waited a couple more days. But anyway, I did it there. So that's what's happening with the open swing that we have out right now. Still looks like a great trade. Gap filled, added to the position, looking for a move higher in the next couple weeks to hit our target and be done with this trade. Overall markets completely took a dump today, or I think things would have worked out differently in here. I don't think we would see a gap fill right now, and I think we'd still be in this channel that was forming right here. I think we'd still be playing inside that channel, but clearly it broke that channel to the gap fill. So that's the swing trade. Let's look at the rest of the markets. What happened today? Okay, so here we are with the ES, which is basically like the S&P 500, but the futures market ticker. As you know, I like to look at that instead of the S&P 500 because I feel like the information is more complete here because it's been trading all night, which I did make money in this with the red light, green light strategy. As you can see right here, we did have our trade trigger here for a short. I'll mark that up. And I'm a little bit bummed about it, but it is what it is. So around 7 o'clock a.m., we had that trade trigger right there. So, or I say last night, but this whatever. It was still kind of dark. So I had this trade trigger right here, and then hit the target, and that was just too bad because I got out. I got out. Right here is we had resistance became support. Probably going to be a support area again. So I took my trade off the table at the algo's intended target for our strategy. And then this happened. I wish I was going for that ride, but you're always going to leave money on the table. You're going to give some back. Today I left a lot on the table, but that is what it is. All right, I'm going to remove that real quick. So, and again, let me show you. Oh yeah, so let me show you. I lost my train of thought for a second. So here's a 30-minute candle, right? So looks pretty insane for today. But then what happens when we go and look at the daily? How insane is it? It's not that insane, right? So we see these big candles happen all the time. And what happens after we see these big candles? It usually stabilizes. We have a pretty decent size, but a big one, we get a little bounce, right? Big one, we got a bounce. Big one, we got some bounces. Big one, no bounce. So will this be bounce or will this be no bounce? Algo thinks it's going to be bounce. So right now we see the red setup telling us we're still in the short zone for the algo on the daily. As I told you last week, or whatever it was I made that video, I do not think this market's going up anytime soon. So I'm not long in the market, but I didn't want to be short long term in the market because it's the market. And right now there's so much instability with the war that and a lot of geopolitical things. One news day could change everything. So I'm not really hanging out long in the market, but I don't see any reason to be. I'm sorry, not hanging out short long term, but I don't see any reason to be long. So I'm not long. My long term investments, I told you a long time ago, I took those out already. And last November, I told you I'm getting ready for the February sell off. So, and sure enough, that's exactly where we're at. So all my long term stuff is in cash right now, waiting to opportunities to get back in. So here we are. So we got our daily, right? We're selling off. You can see little dashes below the white line descending, and now they're starting to curl back up, which is indicating a potential change in trend. Even if it's just a short-term retrace, we're starting to see potential change there. So do I see a bounce coming from here? Probably. I mean, we're down in this support area in a sense. Low of day or low of year and high of year is typically a resistant and support area. We're real close to that. Algo is starting to turn back up a little bit. Looks like a bounce could be coming, but you know, one news cycle and this thing could really sell off big time, or it could really rally. It's hard to say. So let's zoom out a little bit more. Okay, so you can see where we're at right here. So there's a low right here, and that will naturally give it some support. How much will it be? I'm not sure. But you can see when we look at this zone over here, I'll draw a line. You know, we're coming into this zone over here. So this is definitely an area of support right in through here. Question is, will that find that support right here and try to come back up and run into this area of resistance and then crash back down? Or will it be deeper into that zone? That's going to be the question. But right now we do see a zone of support shaping up. I'm going to zoom back in here for a second. So we did have that support right here that finally broke down, rallied back up to retest that what was once support becomes resistance in that area, tried to make its way back up, and then we had this huge sell-off. But it might not be over. It might be looking to do another retest. Another W pattern might show up here. Another retest, maybe even a little deeper. Collect some more longs as this W looks like it's breaking out to the upside, and then sell off. So it's hard to say. I wish I can give you a solid direction. What I can tell you is I'm not in the market long right now, and I'm not going to be in it short long term right now. So I am looking for a short-term play to jump back in here based on my other algo for a scalp to the downside. So I will be taking that trade based on the numbers. So I will be shorting this at 6 p.m. tonight in the futures market on the ES or MES, and I'm looking for a small move to the downside. So I don't think downside is done yet, but I do believe tomorrow when the market opens, general market, we could be looking for a bounce on that. So anyway, so that's where we're at. If this area breaks through here, then clearly we'll be looking for our next major support area, right, that the chart has shown us, and also be looking for the algo to confirm what that looks like. So I believe that's going to be somewhere in this zone way down here. I mean, we could get it here as well, but you know, this is what we're looking at, traders. This is our ladder to the downside that I believe we're going to see happen. And once we can get way back down here to, you know, the September of 2020 areas, then we'll see. We'll see what happens with this market. Does this become a major stabilizing area, or do we want to revisit the lows from the coronavirus? That's going to be the big question. I'd like to believe it's going to be stabilizing down here, but who knows? You know, we're just going to have to follow the algo and see what's going on in the market. Look at the technicals. Look at what's happening in just the general health of the world economy, and we'll see what we end up with. But right now, it's not good. So that's where we are with S&P 500. Let me look at a couple other things, and then we're going to cut this video off. Okay, so I'm not going to spend time on the other charts like the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ because they all look pretty much the same. A lot of those look the same. IWM all looking the same to me. So nothing looks good right now. So here is silver. So once we started to break down into this zone here on the last video, I said this is where I would look to be possibly buying silver if I was going to be a buyer of silver. I'm not right now. So I'm hanging out. This is where I would start my starter position, somewhere in this zone here between 20 and 17.65-ish, $17 is where I'd look to make a starter position in silver if I wanted to get into silver. But algo is still looking to the downside and starting to flatten out a bit, maybe even curling up. So silver could be looking for a rebound back up. So if I was going to do a starter position, it would be here. But I haven't seen silver holding up with inflation like I expected it to do. And I think inflation's going to get worse. I think everything's going to get worse. And as I said in the last video, a lot of times, silver is used in the production of a lot of things. And if those things aren't getting produced, is there a backlog being created in silver that's going to take a while to flush out once supply chains and production ramps back up? So I'm going to hang out and not get into silver just because of the fundamental side of things. And my algo is still showing the red zone, right? Still showing a potential downside. Doesn't mean it can't turn green and rally. That's why I say this is based on the technicals. This is the area that I would start looking to add to silver and start our position, and looking to get the bulk of my position down into this this zone here, somewhere in here. I'd like to reload the boat. So if silver does make it down into the $15 range, I'm going to be adding a bunch of stuff to silver. So that's just me. Even if my algo is straight red, everything looks like a disaster, I'll start a position in silver if we get down to the $15 range, because that will be insane. So, and then long term, that would be a long term, like a 10-year trade, right? So I wouldn't be looking to swing that. That's long term. So anyway, there's silver. And then let's go look at gold real quick. Okay, so here's gold from the last video. So we showed you how we were in this bit of a channel, if you will, or wedge, and it broke out of that wedge, and then it came back down to retest that. Algo still shows gold going to the downside. But as I said, you know, what's going to happen with gold here? Is it going to start to travel along this line, or are we going to see it travel along this line? Or does gold just want to do a straight breakdown and say, see you later, right? Like silver kind of did for a while there. So algo is still showing gold to the downside. I'm not getting gold right now. Not looking good for gold. But once algo tells me to the upside and I start to see some positive movement in gold, I may do a position in gold for a short-term play on it. Short-term as in like 3 or 4 month play on it, and kind of see how things are going. And then we'll either add or dump it or whatever we're going to do. But right now I'm not a buyer of gold either, for those of you who are interested in the metals. If I owned gold, I would not be selling here either, because right now we're at a crossroads. So I would not be selling at this position either. This would be a hold for me if I was in gold, looking for a move that's a slight downward move, that's a slow trend down, or even maybe starting to work its way sideways to look to build energy for a move back up. So that's what I think is happening with gold. I don't think gold is selling off to these levels here. Let me draw a line. This is where gold could be coming, all the way down here to 156 range. Do I think that's going to happen? You know, we don't really want to trade on what we think. My opinion is based on technical analysis, which is full of subjective viewpoints and confirmation bias. My thought is based on that gold is not coming down here. It's going to stabilize here and slowly look to, you know, make a run for new highs. That's my thought based on subjective viewpoints and confirmation bias that you get with technical analysis. Now my algorithm is showing me that gold is on its way down to this level until it says something different. Right now my algo says gold is on its way down to this level. So, but you know, why wouldn't I be a seller? Because anything can happen right now with what's going on in the world. And for me, gold is not a short-term swing. If gold is a short-term swing, then I might be, you know, looking to, I would have probably already got out of my position once it got below here, right? Like I would have been entering my position on a solid break right here. This is where I would have got into gold. We had a rally up. I would have trailed my stop. I would have been out of gold a long time ago, right? And if I was still in it when I saw this massive W pattern showing up here, or even you could say a little head and shoulders, it's kind of a weird head and shoulders, but I would have been looking to get out with some profit. So I would not be in gold right now, basically, is what I'm saying. If I was a trader of gold, I would have made my profits and I would not be in gold right now. I'd be waiting for an entry. If I was long-term gold, then of course I would still be in gold, because I might be looking at it for like 3 or 4 years down the road. And there's nothing scary here that tells me in 4 or 5 years that gold's going to be crashing down. So I would not be selling my gold if I had it right here, but I'm also not adding to it. So try not to be too confusing there, but I want to let you know what my thoughts are, what I'm doing. That's the look of the market today. What a sell-off. Let's go take one more look at that real quick. Okay, just want to take one more look at this. So on the daily candle, it really doesn't look that bad today, right? We had a run up. We retraced that run, engulfed that run, if you will, back down to this level, which, you know, it does that a lot. You know, this S&P 500 does that a lot. We see big candles retracing a lot. And usually when it's a run up with a big candle like that, we may see one more retest, and then usually it has a little bit of a rally. I'm more concerned when it's doing this with these small little small little stair steps I'm more concerned at. And then when we get some big moves down, then I'm not so worried, because usually we see a sideways to up bounce. So if I was in the S&P 500 right now, this is the question I'm sure some people are asking, or the ES or MES, would I be a seller right here? Would I be dumping my position if I was long in the ES or MES? You know, I'd like to say I would not be dumping my position because we're right here at a support area. But with that said, I am planning on shorting this at 6 p.m. tonight in about an hour for a short-term play, which I'm nervous about. You know, I've already sent it out to some of my members, who I trade with, and let them know that I'm going to do it because the numbers game tells me to do it. But I'm nervous about it because I'm looking for a bounce, and that bounce is going to take me through my stop and get me stopped out. So, but it's a numbers game, and I'm playing the odds. I'm playing the statistical proven probability of success, and that's how I got to play it. And I know that I just make those numbers, and at the end of the year, at the end, when it's all washed out, I'm making money. If I don't take this trade and it is a winner, then I missed out on a winner that's going to pay for the losers. If I take the trade and it's a loser, then I just double up my shares or my contracts, because I'm on the futures market, on the next trade, and I don't worry about it, right? I have full recovery. And if that's a loser, I'm going to double those up, and then I have full recovery, because statistically that's what happens. So, and that is how I'm trading that one particular strategy. That's on my sniper strategy for those of you watching. So on the sniper strategy, this is red light, green light you're looking at, but on sniper, I am looking to definitely jump in to this, to the short side for a little bit. So would I be a seller if I was long right now? You know, if it was a long-term move, like I'm holding this for years, then I probably would not be selling this. I would be looking to, if anything, accumulate. You know, anytime the markets come way down, it's a nice time to accumulate if you're looking at like a 5 or 10 year hold. So for my daughter's account, I'm not adding to her account yet. I think the market still has a long way to go down. I really do believe we're going to come way down here eventually, and that's when I'll be looking to start adding to my daughter's account. And I'll probably start looking to put my long-term investments back into the market once we get down to these levels or below. I'm not going to go all in when I get to here. I'm going to get in a little bit maybe. I don't know. We're going to see what the environment is. But right now, as they are, I'm not doing anything with it long term until we're down into this zone. And then I'm going to start looking for opportunities to add to my starter position for my long-term investments again. And if we get way back down here to the 2174 area, then I'll probably just go all in and not worry about it if it continues lower. And I'll just keep on adding monthly to my long-term investments. So anyway, long story short, that's where we're at. Okay, so here we are with the sniper strategy I talked about. I told you I was going to short the market tonight for a short little trade based on my algo. So by the time I was going to get the market outlook or market update video done, by the time I was going to be able to launch that, this trade had already set up. So I figured I'd go ahead and throw this in on the tail end so you can see what I was talking about. So here we are with my sniper strategy indicating a short trade here, which I trade after a loser. So for those of you who are new to my school and haven't seen this part yet, we had all these winners. So then finally we had a loser right here. So now I can take a trade. And then I'll take 1 or 2 trades and then wait for a loser again. It's a lower frequency but much higher probability play. So that's how I like to trade the sniper. Sniper trade on the algo, basically I have purple dot show up to a gray, or gray then purple dot. Either way, as soon as we have the alignment of purple dot and gray, it's a short. And as soon as we have an alignment of green dot and this tan, then it's a long play basically. And then every time it reloads, can take another trade. So, and then more details over at 2020daytrader.com about my algos. But anyway, here's that algo play. So we're into it. And for those of you who don't know, haven't been around for a while, you will never see like $10,000 in these boxes up here, because I do not trade my family account on the internet. Like, I know some people like to show everybody that they're making tens of thousands of dollars, but we do not like to do that. So better for our safety to, I think, not put that kind of information out there. So we go ahead and just put together a small little account that I can use for social media stuff, as well as trading with my students. It's all through our small account. And so anytime you see my trade stuff set up, you'll always see just small numbers. The purpose of this, my channel, is not to sit here and brag about how much money I'm making in the market. It's to be able to show traders, show you how, alternative ways that you can be successful in the market. and just kind of give you some different ideas and things to think about. And I don't need to put $10,000 in this box up here to show you that. I just need to put success and failure, because you can learn from both of those, success and failure. So the whole goal of my channel is literally to post success and to post failure, and to be able to teach through those two things and help you learn something new from that. So that's the whole purpose of this channel. All right, so there you go. So there's our sniper strategy. I'm gonna wait a little bit and see if this thing wants to play out quickly, but I do want to get this. It's already 10 o'clock at night. I'm gonna probably not. So maybe, yeah, today is the 18th. So right now, if you want to see what ended up happening to this, my target is 3,869 is my target, and my stop right now is 3,978. So if you want to check and see what this the MES ended up doing, or the ES ended up doing on today, then you'll get to see how this trade actually played out. But I need to be able to go ahead and finish up this video so I can get it published on the day before the new trading day starts. So I'm going to have to shut it down, and we'll see you in the next video.